Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Benti if you're new here, and if you're returning, welcome back. So before I start, I just want to say that I recorded this video about 3 times because every time I do it, the first one I hated, the second one it was good and I was getting ready to edit it and everything, and then I realized that I forgot a bunch of stuff that I felt like I needed to add. So we're just gonna do it one last time, 3 times, well that's 6, 3 times is a charm, and we're just gonna get right into it. So actually, I just wanted to show off my little turban that I was gifted. My cousin, she gifted me, she actually surprised me with this turban, and I love it. It is a bonnet and it has a string that you just wrap around and do however you want. It's from anewwow.com. I'm gonna post their Instagram and their website in the description down below. But it's awesome, and it's satin, it's satin lined inside the bonnet, and it's beautiful. I even went on their website already, and they have a bunch of stuff. Like, I'm actually looking to get more. So thank you, cousin. I love you so much. But anyways, we're gonna get right into the video. So I did my eyebrows off camera because I feel like you guys seen me do my eyebrows before, and we can just go straight into it. Now today's video is going to be a little bit different. I decided to do a tutorial on eyeshadow because I got requested to do it a couple weeks ago. Now in this video I'm going to be showing you guys brushes that I use, techniques, and placement. I'm also going to be talking about the different eyeshadow bases that I use for priming my eyes. So we're going to get right into the video. So to start off, we're going to talk about primer. So eye primer is something that we use to help with preventing creasing and keeping the eyeshadow to stay long lasting. Now there are three types of eyeshadow bases that I actually do use that I'm going to show you guys today. Technically it's 2, but 2 are from the same brand. Actually technically it's 4, but I'm just going to show you. I'm going to stop rambling. I use the Louise base. This is in the color Rumor 2. I also go ahead and I use the Louise Rumor 4, which I just got a couple days ago. And then I also use the Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this has one stamp color, but this also is a very nice primer to use. And sometimes I go ahead and I use the Smashbox 24-hour photo finish. However, this one is more of a cream. It's translucent, but I tend to use it before I actually put on the eye primer base. I will say that the Anastasia Beverly Hills, it starts off as a very wet consistency, but it dries down matte. And actually all 3 of these bases dry down very matte. They have a matte finish. So in terms of brushes, most of my brushes are from Morphe, and I'll just show you guys them quickly, and then as I'm going through the video, as I'm doing the eyeshadow looks, you know, you guys will see what brushes I use. So these are the brushes that I use. They're not really hard. I do have a lot of brushes, but I tend to stick to the ones that are in here, or if I'm trying to switch it up a little bit. For my eyeshadow palette that I'm going to use today, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my Morphe 35O palette, which is a bunch of browns and neutrals and a little bit of shimmers. I'm also probably going to try and dip into my 35N, which is also another Morphe palette. And this is just mattes, which is good. Mattes are good. I like mattes. Alright guys, so let's get right into it. To prime my lids today, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use Rumor 4. And we're just going to put that on my palette and just blend it out. Now I will say a little goes a long way, and I'm going to take my Real Techniques brush, and this is their base eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to place that all over my lid. Now when you're placing it, you're going to place it on the lid, but you also want to make sure you blend it out. Blend it out, and also blur out the harsh lines. So I place it on my lid first, and then I'm going to bring it up. And that way, when it's time to put on the eyeshadow, you won't have any issues. Now, in terms of purchasing or where you can get these eyeshadow bases, of course I'll leave everything in the description below, but for Louise, you can get it at on her actual website. You can get them from Morphe, she's based in the UK. It may take a little bit longer, and of course you have to figure out the currency changes because her website actually doesn't automatically do that, which was kind of annoying because I was trying for a while and I just kind of gave up. So I actually got mine from Morphe. When the quarantine first happened, they were sold out of everything. So I was like looking for months to try and get like them in stock every day. And one random day, probably like a couple weeks ago, it was in stock and I was able to get Rumor 4. I've always had Rumor 2. Rumor 2 is like her stamp color. That's the one that everyone can use. It's universal. That's the word. It's universal. I'm going in with my blending brush. This is her buffering, the Real Techniques buffering brush, and I'm just going to buff out the lines real quick. Yeah, so you can get it from there. Morphe, of course, since Morphe is in the United States, it's a little bit easier to get it. And of course, for Anastasia Beverly Hills, you can get it from Ulta, Sephora, or her actual website, the Anastasia Beverly Hills website. All right, so we primed our lids, and so we're gonna go right into the palette. So I'm not actually really sure what color or what look I'm trying to go for. I know I'm gonna keep it very simple. I just don't know in terms of color, which is fine because you guys get to kind of see how I choose my eyeshadow look for the day. I'm gonna take my M303 brush. This is a pointed blended brush. And actually, no, I'm gonna go ahead in my M573 brush, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take this brown color. So you put it on and you tap off the excess. I don't know if you guys can see, but I tapped off the excess. And I'm just gonna put that, this is gonna be my transition shade, which is gonna go right up here. And transition shades are of course to help everything blend in seamlessly. So I'm gonna start right in the corner and I'm gonna pack it on first. Once I pack it on, and then I blend it out. So I'm gonna pack and then I'm gonna bring it out. Now, you always want to start in the outer corner because it'll be easier for you to transition everything in. And I'm raising up my eye so that I can make sure it gets into my crease area. So you just pack it in and you add as you go. And for your transition shade, it's all about not only the matte, but also about your tone, whatever the tone of your skin tone, the tone of your skin tone, that's how you know what transition color you want to go with. So of course, whatever I do on one eye, I do on the other. So I'm packing it and then I'm blending it all out. I'm bringing it out, I should say. Once I bring it out, then I start to use wind wiper motions just like this, but I still want to make sure I get the desired pigment of the eyeshadow. Now, some palettes do have fallout, and for me, honestly, it's not a problem, but for some people it might be, so just keep that in mind when it comes to fallout. For me, fallout means there's a good amount of pigment on it, so that's why it doesn't bother me as much. Some people, they don't really like that. So I put our brown on the outer corner, and now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take a lighter brown and I'm just gonna dab that in. I'm gonna continue to use the same brush. You don't have to, you can always switch, sometimes I do, but right now I'm gonna keep the same brush and I'm just gonna tap that off and I'm gonna put it right above the brown that I just placed. I'm just gonna blend that out. Now for this look, I'm not doing a cut crease. It's gonna be simple. I'm still gonna put stuff, of course, on the lids, but I'm not gonna cut my crease. So I've done that. Now, what I do wanna do, I'm gonna switch brushes and I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna take my E22 brush, and this is more of a pointed blended brush. So I'm able to get the corners a little bit better. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna deepen up my outer corner just a little bit with a darker brown. And I'm just gonna deepen up that corner just a little bit. I actually forgot what brown I just used, but it's okay. So for I don't know if you guys can notice, I kind of have like lines on my eyes. I guess my eyes, I would be considered to have hooded eyes. I don't really think so. But when it comes to hooded eyes, you have to kind of bring whatever you're putting on the lid space a little bit higher so that when you look up, you can still see whatever you did on your eyes. So now I'm just blending that out. And actually, I think I want to go on a darker, I want to get a darker brown. So I'm gonna actually go into my Ania palette because she has a brown that's really pigmented and really dark, and I'm gonna add that. Alright, this is a little bit darker, what I'm going for, and I'm just deepening my crease. All right, so we've deepened our crease, and now we're gonna focus on the lid space. So for the lid, I'm gonna go back into my 35N palette, which is the palette with all the mattes, and I'm gonna add like a nude. I'm just trying to see which nude will go best. Now, for the lid space, I only use a flat-ended brush. I use a brush like this one. This is my M421 brush, or I use this brush. Now, this brush, which is my M224, I actually tend to only use that to cut my crease because if you guys can see, it's very flat. It's a very flat brush. So I tend to use that brush for that. This one is very small because it's able to get everywhere, and I really like to use this when it comes to glitters. So I'm gonna go in, and I see a nude that I think I like. Yeah. I really switch up how I do my eyeshadow. It just depends on what I'm going for. If what is going in my head goes with the palette, the colors that I see here. So I'm just gonna pack that on. Now, again, when it comes to your lid space, you don't brush, you pack. You pack everything on. And what I should have done, but I didn't do, which is okay because I can show you guys now. I should have added, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. It's fine. I'm gonna actually add a little bit more of the base, the P. Louise base that I used originally, because it will make the eyeshadows pop a lot more, especially on my lid. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Wipe this off to the best of my ability. And I'm just gonna put the P. Louise back on. You guys get to see me do this raw action of how I do my eyeshadow. Because listen, some days it works, other days I look crazy. But I took this and I'm just gonna place it all over my lid space. And there's no harsh lines, so when it's done, you should see it should be very seamless. All right. All right, guys, that looks a lot better. Now we're gonna go back and we're just gonna apply it again and see what we get. Okay, it packed on way better as well. It also helped with the creasing. I started to notice that my eyelids were creasing a little bit. And I will say what you can do to prevent creasing on your eyelids is to add setting powder onto your eyes to set the base. One thing I also realized I didn't mention, this is a good thing that I'm just doing this as I'm going. You can also prime your lids with concealer. It's not a problem to use concealer to prime your lids. For those who aren't ready to step out the comfort zone and spend the money, you can use that. So I finished one eye and I'm liking it. It's not bad. And I'm just patting it on the other eye. So now, once I've done that, now it's time to blend everything in. So I'm gonna use a brush that has no, shadows or anything like that. This is my M330 brush, my M330 brush. I don't know why I just didn't say that. And I'm just gonna blend everything in. I do think I wanna go back and add some more of that brown, which is good. So I'm just blending the outer parts, and then I'm gonna go back and blend the inner parts because we want a seamless blend. I'm noticing some harsh lines here, so that's why I'm using my finger to kind of blend it in. So all of that is blended in, but I'm just gonna go back and I'm going to add some more. I'm gonna deepen a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, sometimes I always like one eye instead of the other. And today, that's a day. One eye is just not really working for me, but we're gonna fix it and we're gonna make it work. So essentially in this part, I really was just blending everything in, and I was going back and forth with adding and taking away or blending it out. Nothing really special. I wanted to speed it up so it won't be too long for you guys. What I'm doing here is trying to kind of make everything even. So I'm just going back, just fixing it up just a tad. Okay. It's looking like something. It's looking like something, guys. Honestly, eyeshadow's all about trial and error. And I felt like using a palette that was more inexpensive for you guys to see. So if you do want to go out and try it, you know the palette. And I will say, for the price that Morphe sells the palettes, I think you get a good amount. And also, because of quarantine, they've been having a lot of sales. And they have smaller palettes than this that you can also try as well. All right, I see one thing I need to fix and then we're done. Don't worry, trust me. All right, so this is the final look in terms of the eyes. So I'm gonna do everything else and I'm gonna come back in. All right, guys, so we are back. I finished my face. For lashes today, I just went in and I used my Crystal Lash by C Cosmetics. And for my lip today, I used my Bit of Honey by NYX. This is their Butter Gloss. And of course I line my lip with the MAC Chestnut. So this is really essentially how I do my eyeshadow. I definitely use base all the time because it helps with laying down the foundation, just like how we lay down our foundation when we're priming. We prime our skin to lay down, you know, okay, let me try this again. So essentially I use base, eyeshadow base and primer just to create a foundation for the pigments and the eyeshadows, and that's essentially what we do when we're doing our face. before we put on our foundation, we always put on a moisturizer or a primer. So just kind of think of that, correlate the same things with their eyes. And of course, like I said, I'm going to post everything that I talked about in my description today. So this is all I actually have for you guys today. I do think I'm going to do a part 2 and do a foundation routine, but showing you guys how I use my brushes, or the brushes that I use for my face. But today, this is all we have. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also hit that bell button so that when every time I post a video, you would know. Anyways, until next time, bye.